Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of Cooking with Craig. Tonight, we got beefy taco pasta in the Instapot and
A braided garlic.
mmm.
Hey, that was Craig Badura, good friend of mine from Nebraska, who really, he and I bonded over not just our roles in education, but actually primarily our love of golf. He's got an amazing golfing family, if you will. Two kids are playing collegiate golf, and he and his wife, and they're just sort of the perfect family when I think of golfing. But that's actually not why I wanted to visit with him today. He, over the last number of years, started sharing his love of cooking online. He's got a little off and on Instagram following called Cooking with Craig, and he's kind of inspired me in many ways. And I just thought this would be a great chance for he and I to get together and chat about where his love of cooking came from, and kind of just his routine and the way in which he thinks through cooking. I guess during COVID, more and more of us have sort of embraced cooking in maybe ways we hadn't before, and so I just wanted to take a little time to chat with Craig, and so enjoy my conversation with Craig Badura, aka Cooking with Craig.
My name is Craig Badura. I'm the integration specialist here at a smaller school and right smack dab in the middle of Nebraska, about 1,200 students. We have 120 teachers here. It's called Aurora Public Schools. So we have a elementary, middle school, high school, and I have the privilege of working with our K-12 kids and our K-12 teachers on a daily basis. So I've been here, I think this is my 11th year.
So tell everybody, how do we know each other?
Well, we have I'm trying to think of that story. Was it at Miami Device that we met? Or, yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was
it
going
was.
back to, boy, I'm trying to think a year or two, 2012, 2013. I'd always followed Dean and kind of loved what the content that he was sharing, the way he thought. And I was fortunate enough. I think we actually got to meet twice, and we got to sit down together. And I really remember thinking outside that night after we went down to that gelato place in Miami Beach and got to sit down and just talk shop and education and pick each other's brains. And I guess our relationships kind of sprouted across the social media channels since then. So it's been great.
Yeah, and I mean we've also have a strong bond over golf too, which is
Yep.
what
How did I not
what
forget
might have
that?
been. We might have thrown that in there as this is the reason that we're going to talk, but that's actually not the reason that I wanted you to share, because amongst that, and by the way, for people that don't know, they are Craig and his wife Jennifer are like they're royalty in family golf, as I will put them. Like both their kids are college golfers, and they play as a family, and it's like they should have just a whole show of just them golfing. I'd watch that one, but that's not why I wanted Craig here. So Craig, you and I don't, and this is where I want the background story of this. And all of a sudden, I started seeing these Cooking with Craig stories on Instagram that sort of have been evolving over the past couple of years, and it was more than just sort of a passing phase. Like this is now a thing. So tell me about you and cooking. When did you fall in love with cooking?
Boy, it made me think, when you'd emailed me, said, we're going to talk about your passion in cooking. And I've had several people ask me about that. I just started sharing, something that I thought was just a little bit different than people would share. And I called it silly name Cooking with Craig. And I got to thinking back of when my love of cooking really started. And I think back to a lot of the holidays at my grandma's house in Loop City, Nebraska, my Polish grandma, and just cooking in the kitchen. And I was just amazed by watching her sitting there, as a 5, 6, 7-year-old, how she would just whip things together and it would taste so good. And my parents were very good at that too. And I guess just always helping my mom in the kitchen. My dad was always so good at like smoking meats outside in a smoker, and growing up with 3 brothers at home and a single mom. I guess I was kind of the one that was the one that was, Craig, I was the oldest of 4 boys. And so it was, you're the one that's going to learn how to cook. You're the one that's going to cook supper tonight. We're making goulash, we're peeling potatoes. And so I really learned on the fly. Back then, it might not have been a labor of love, but today I guess it is a labor of love. And so it's evolved over the past 35 years into something that I really love, just investing that time and energy into planning a meal, and then to to cooking it and see it come to fruition. It's just it's been a fun experience for me.
So I would say, Craig, and you probably would agree with me that you overshot the runway in terms of your marriage, for sure. And my question is, was your ability to cook something that Jennifer thought would be a trait that she wanted to sort of get in on?
I can't speak for her, but if she was sitting here next to me, I would probably say yes. I think back to not only cooking, but cleaning. My mom taught me well. I remember the second day of 6th grade, Dean. I don't know why I remember this, but I remember asking my mom, "Hey, Mom, are those jeans that we have, are those ready for school tomorrow?" And she said, "Come with me." And I remember walking downstairs and she showed me how to do laundry. And while we were down there, she showed me how to iron. And so it has served me well to this day. And I love chipping in on the house cleaning. I guess her and I are both a lot alike when it comes to cleaning the house and keeping the house clean and tidy and neat. And some people come over our house and they're like, "How do you live like this where it's so tidy?" But I mean, I think I would answer yes to that question for her, that she saw that.
So you've always taken up, that has been sort of your deal.
Yeah. I mean, and I think my mom just kind of, she raised me well. I got to give her all the credit there, that it was just clean up after yourself. And I don't know why, I just have never been kind of a messy person where, it was just expected the house would be picked up and cleaned. And I guess I've carried that on throughout my life.
So, okay, so let's go into the cooking part a little bit more deeper. So when you say like the whole thing from planning, so talk about like, what do you plan? Like, is that like a whole weekly thing? And then like, how does what's the methodology here?
Well, I can't say that we've done it forever. I really got to go back and give credit to my daughter, Danica, for about, I'm going to say 3 to 4 years ago. We all do it. And if you're listening to this, you're worried about what to cook during the week. You get home, it's been a busy day, you're stressed out. You're like, what are we going to cook? What are we going to have tonight? I got to take something out of the freezer. And so we pretty much sat down and said, let's meal prep on Saturday nights. And so the one thing that really helped us was a magazine called Eating Healthy. And I don't know, do you guys have Hy-Vees up there, Dean? I don't think you have Hy-Vees in Canada.
No, we don't.
So it's a super.
Nor do we have Runzas either. So.
That's a whole nother podcast. But we have Eating Well magazine. Check them out. It's a great magazine. It's once a month. Hy-Vee, I don't know if it comes out bi-weekly or monthly, but they have lots of great recipes too. And so my daughter would sit down on Saturday night and say, here's what we're going to make this week. And she'd pretty much make up the meal plan, and then we'd sit down and we'd make up the grocery list. So when we go to the grocery store, and she started doing it and breaking it down by vegetable section, the fruit section, the meat section. And so when we went in and out of the grocery store, it wasn't stressful, like walking up and down the aisle saying, "Oh, let's make street tacos tomorrow night," or let's make smoked tenderloin or something like this. So we kind of had a plan going in there, and that evolved into I think during COVID time, I started a Cooking with Craig newsletter. And so I need to kind of kick that back up too. But it was me sharing really a couple of my favorite recipes and then maybe our meal plan for the week. And so it's evolved over the last 2 years into just sitting down even last night with my wife and I as empty nesters. It's a whole different situation, just cooking for 2 people,
Right.
as you know. And so that's evolved, but it made our life so much less stressful when we sat down and started meal planning as a family, knowing what we were going to cook. And we had that done. Sunday night's pizza night. Wednesday night, we have salmon, couscous, and a veggie. So we know there's 2 static nights that always stay the same. And then those other 3 nights, it's either leftovers or we throw a different meal in there. And it's been such a stress reliever for us, knowing that we know we're going to cook each night when we come home or after our workout in the morning. You got to take out some chicken or you got to take out salmon, so we know what we're going to cook. So that's kind of how that's all evolved. We never really did that when the kids were growing up, and it was stressful. And I saw a lot of families struggling with that. And I'm like, okay, we got to stop this and do a little bit more efficient planning. And it's worked out great for us.
Well, and having a daughter that wants to get in on it too. Yeah. Like I think you've got a family of type A's that are all got to get her done, which is pretty amazing. So and then as you began to share this on Instagram, tell me a little bit about sort of like how that kind of evolved.
Yeah. It was funny because the kids who really picked up were the high school golfers. I'm the high school golf coach here, and I'd go to a golf meet in the spring and they're like, "Hey, what are you cooking tonight, coach?" what's on Cooking with Craig this weekend? Or I get teachers talking to me, oh, that looked really good on Cooking with Craig, or somebody comment on the story. And, it's just blossomed into that. And my son just said tonight, he said, Dad, you haven't done a whole lot. I did post tonight because we did T-bones and some chicken and some leftovers, but I've kind of probably got to do a better job of posting that and just giving people ideas. And I've had a couple of people reach out to me. I've had a knife company. I'm not an influencer by any means, but they said, we like your content. We want to send you some of our knives. Would you mention us? Kitchen Mama reached out to me, wanted me to send, they wanted to send me the can opener, their electric can opener. And I said, I noticed that you have an electric pepper grinder, because I've really been wanting to buy one. I said, I'll actually do some videos for you if you send me that as well. And so, it's just been fun. It's a labor of love. It truly is, because I love cooking. I think you can see that when you watch the silly videos on Instagram, and I have a lot of fun with that sometime, and especially in the wintertime when, it gets dark early. So it's just been a labor of love for us.
So is there any like sort of go-to or thing that you feel like when it comes to this meat, salad, whatever, that you've kind of maybe even would call like, this is my sort of specialty right here? If I had to do the one meal, this would be the one I would showcase.
Lately, I got a Green Mountain grill for our camper. And so we like to camp a lot in the summer. And I wanted a smaller camper, or a smaller grill for our camper. So I got the Green Mountain grill. Listen to me, I sound like an influencer giving shout outs to these companies and I get nothing from them, but it's the Davy Crockett, and it's a smaller smoker. And I was just really into smoking. I had an older one that was an electric, and it was okay. I had it for 6 or 7 years, and I got this one, and it's just smoking. That's my daughter said, you can probably smoke too much stuff, Dad, but I smoked the ham for Easter dinner yesterday, and just pork butts right now. Anything ribs, anything pork right now. I did a birthday table at our elementary school last week for the birthday table there, and that was a hit. So just really smoking items. I just like the process of getting it ready the night before, and then getting up early in the morning, getting on the smoker, and just putting that time and energy into that, and then seeing how good it tastes. And I like to give it to my neighbors, and just my neighbor had commented, it's like having carnival food at your house. We make hamburgers with pulled pork over the top. And so that, in my Instant Pot, I can't say enough good things. My Instant Pot, that's been a game saver for us with enchilada bowls. It's kind of a specialty here. And of course, salmon, pan-seared salmon we do in the Lodge cast iron skillet. So that's been really good too. And it's super easy to do too, once you do it.
Well, I don't want to even suggest that I have any kind of business being in your side of things, but I will say you've influenced me, just because I've gotten into it more, and I'm not even anything in your caliber or not, but my wife did say this to me the other day. You talk about empty nesters. She said to me, I just want you to know one thing. I'm kind of done with cooking. So I'm fine if you ask me to make a meal, but if you ask me to make a meal, it's probably just going to be like a couple boiled eggs. Like, it's going to be nothing. So she said, I'm okay if you do it, but just so you know, but she said, I don't know what, and she's also decided, she says, as you sort of think about, the time when you retire from everything, you need a hobby. And I think maybe cooking has become your hobby. Yeah. I don't know if I would go that far, but I have enjoyed playing around with just, like, I'm really into like the TikTok videos, the like 1 minute, like how you make something, and like, okay, I want to make that, right? Because and Facebook used to have these videos that would be like, and that's what you're doing, right? Is you're making something, you're going like, that looks good, I'd like to try that. I think I could do that.
And that's, in fact, I'm making a TikTok meal tomorrow, and I probably should, but the thing is, I struggle with, where do you put all this content? I've kind of done Instagram, TikTok's kind of more teacher fun stuff for me, but I'm making a TikTok meal tomorrow night that I saw. I'm like, oh, it's so easy. I'm like, why did I not think of that? So, yeah.
Well, and again, like I noticed that you had, I didn't want to say you were an influencer, because I don't know that sometimes that's a good, bad, or the otherwise, but the fact that people have reached out to you and know that what you're doing is making an impact, that's great. So last question is, how has it, you mentioned just a little bit about your golf team and teachers kind of connecting to it, but maybe even being a little bit more esoteric, how has sort of this cooking and your passion for that impacted you as a teacher in whatever way? Like, and maybe there's no connection, like maybe you just see it as a completely separate thing, but maybe you're saying, yeah, it actually has kind of, I don't know, influenced your thinking or helped you in some way as an educator.
And of course you're going to ask a question like that, Dean, because those are the conversations we have, right? Those deep thinking questions. I guess right off the top of my head, when you ask me that question, the immediate thing that pops into my head is I have a class called Digital Innovations with my 8th graders. And it's really more of an exploratory class. We do a whole lot of creating. We have conversations in there. Some days we just sit and talk for 45 minutes and they ask questions. And the one thing that we've talked about a lot is influencers, because the kids of that age are really into TikTok and especially YouTube and the influencers. And we've talked about those conversations, and they follow me. You know, I don't follow them back, but they'll follow me and on Instagram and ask, well, where do you come up with these ideas? And I guess that, you know, if I'd even go down to my 3rd and 4th grade kids, their number one goal is to be a YouTuber. They want to be. And so I show them some of my content and they're like, how do you come up with the ideas? And I'm like, I just do it. You know, it's just, so it's, I guess it really hasn't, I like how it's brought in conversations to me to share with kids when people reach out to me. You know, I've had opportunities to do this or this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to just share I just want to do my cooking show. Leave me alone. I don't want to showcase your product all the time. And so just to, I guess, maybe let kids know that you don't have to do all the things that people ask of you, you know, as an influencer. And I'm not really an influencer myself. I wouldn't consider myself, but, you know, I've had people reach out and I'm like, I'm just doing silly cooking videos here in Aurora, Nebraska, in my small kitchen town of 4,000 people. But I guess that's, you know, allowed us during digital citizenship or leadership to have some of those conversations about influencers.
Well, and just to model, I mean, not just that, but model how to create and how to use it for, and I think a lot of times too, you know, the conversations we have around kids with technology is always in pursuit of a career or a job and how you're going to need it for that, which is a fine conversation to have, but it's also like how you use this in your daily life for your own pleasure and enjoyment, and you're, you know, making a positive contribution to the world. So I think there's so much there that's really powerful.
Amen. You got it.
Well, thanks for this. This was good.
Yeah.
This is what I exactly hoped it would be, is just to get a little bit of an insight on why people do what they do, and just sort of seeing them beyond what they do as teachers as well.
Well, thanks for having me, Dean. It was sure good to see you. I loved catching up with you and hope to do so in person here in the near future, my friend.
Let's do it.
All right.